My guest in the studio is Lee Worden. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. So you've been a professional musician making your living full-time for how long?
My first professional gig was in 1978, and I used to play with my dad's band and made $100 a night, and that's pretty much the way the music industry still is.
Yeah, it hasn't changed much, has it?
I was a rich kid and not so much as an adult.
Yeah. Well, but you're a full-time musician now. You don't have a day job. Music is your life, right?
That's it, yeah.
So what kind of an attitude does a person have to adopt to become a full-time musician and really make it a business?
Well, it's when you start out, you're thinking, oh, I get to work nights and sleep in, and this is the job for me. But the faster you get out of bed and make yourself a list of things to do to promote yourself, the farther you're going to go in this sort of showbiz.
Tell us a little bit about the Gords.
Well, the whole thing came from the Ian Tyson connection, because the guitar player that I replaced is Gord Matthews, and he used to play with Katie Lang back in the days when she was huge in the 80s. I guess she's still pretty big, but he played on all the Johnny Carson shows and things like that. And the bass player in the Ian Tyson band is Gord Maxwell, and they were pretty surprised to hear that my name's actually Gordon Lee Worden. So it just seemed like it was too perfect that we should put a band together. And that's what we did. So the whole thing's an Ian Tyson offshoot. The producer of the band is Tom McKillop, and he is the guitar player that gave Gordy Matthews the job. The Ian Tyson thing is, if you want to sub out for the gig, you pretty much lose the gig. So so that's pretty much how all of us have got the job. It's like, well.
So, yeah, there's a lot to be said for don't mess up. Keep your schedules.
And he likes to have a really tight band and a really dependable thing, because it's a really intimate show that he does. There's only 3 of us. So
I haven't seen one of his shows, and the last time I did see him was Ian and Sylvia. That's how long it's been. And I missed when his 18-inch of Rain, is that what it was? Yeah. Album came out. He was close, and I really wanted to go to that, but couldn't make it. So the Gords, do you guys get together and actually do gigs?
We've done one gig in Edmonton about 2 months ago, but we got together and actually recorded all the bed tracks in Vancouver, BC. And with Tom as the producer, then we went home to our home studios and sent in stuff, and he organized it. And then the drummer from my old band, the Great Wide Open, moved to Warsaw, I think 14 years ago, and he's quite big in the industry as a mixer and a studio rat. So we sent all the stuff to him to mix. So I don't think we could have made this album 10 years ago, because the technology has gotten so easy to use that a bunch of lunkheads like us can actually, make it sound intimate and human, even though we're not anywhere near each other when we're recording our parts.
So you guys send, do you have a Dropbox or an FTP that you send your tracks back and forth to add and subtract?
Exactly. So your KMUZ listeners know what all that stuff is? That's a pretty highbrow bunch.
Well, they're pretty smart. We've got a lot of listeners online. They at least know how to get us online, and it's kind of like that, but with a few more twists and turns in it, for sure.
Well, you better be careful, because I know your secret. You're not actually in Turner anymore, huh? That's pretty sneaky.
Yeah, all right. Just for that, I was asked to ask you this question. I was not going to do it, but I'm going to do it now. Boxers or briefs?
Depends.
Ouch. We're going to do a song called Feel at Home, which is off your brand new album. What can you tell me about this song before we play it?
Well, it sounds kind of bluegrassy as it is now, but I kind of stole the lick from Jimi Hendrix. So I guess if you've got any rapidly aging hippies out there listening, and you see if you can pick out the song I stole it from.
88.5 FM, KMUZ, Turner. Yes, it really is Turner, Lee. And that was the Gords with Feel at Home, and that's a cut off their brand new album, which will be released on the 17th of this month. So you're hearing radio history right here. We've got the album first, and in the studio with me this morning is Lee Worden from the group, the Gords. And we were talking earlier about spending some time on the road, as you do, with Ian Tyson. And one of the projects you were involved with Ian is a song called, where are we at here? Saddle Bronc Girl. What can you tell us about that?
It's about a bronc riding pistol from BC named Kayla Muscle, and she rides with the boys and the broncs. And this song is coming. It's going to be on Ian's new album, which is out this month. It's called Raven Singer, and it's another album that we recorded the bed tracks together in Alberta, and then separated and sent the tracks in to this fella in Nanton, Alberta. I think his studio is called the Center of the Universe Studio, and I think he really means it.
Well, let's give a listen. Here is Lee playing on this album with Ian Tyson, Saddle Bronc Girl. The new 88.5 FM KMUZ with Ian Tyson and Saddle Bronc Girl. And we do have Lee Worden in the studio with us this morning. We're talking about the new album that's due out on April the 17th. And, when you gave me the copy of it, and I had a chance at work to put it on, it was real quiet, and I really had a chance to listen to it. And I was just amazed at the quality of that album. I mean, I've watched you played live with a couple of different bands, JT and the Tourists and Tracy. I don't think I've seen any other incarnations of you, but I knew you were a good player, but wow, you guys really stepped up to the plate on that one. How long did it take you to put that album together, working remotely as you do?
Well, we've all been studio musicians for ages, so actually it's amazingly fast. Like the drummer that we hired, he's an old buddy as well. He used to play with Bryan Adams back in the 80s. Like, he's on Summer of '69 and some really, really big hits. We had him over and had a day rehearsal, and then the next day we went in the studio and tracked all the drums, bass, 2 acoustic guitars live, and we did 5 songs in one day. Came home, and regrouped. 2 weeks later, we did 6 tracks in one day. So it was really fast to do. And because of the speed of, because we live thousands of miles apart, so it actually, when you're actually working out things, you don't spend any time arguing over parts. It's basically, if someone doesn't like it, it gets turfed. And that's also the advantage of having a 3-man band, is there's an instant tiebreaker.
Yep.
So by the time we actually went home to record the little fiddly bits in our own studio, the sound was actually already there, and it was just a case of playing stuff that you were kind of happy with. So it really didn't take long at all to do it. And that's why we really believe in this project. Is it seems to, our voices blend easy, our songwriting blends easy, and we get along because we're all middle-aged family men, and we don't really. This is pretty much our last chance to really try to make a career in show business other than being sidemen, because that Ian Tyson's 78 years old, so we're not counting on him for our retirement.
I would guess not. And so have you broached that subject with Ian about there's a possibility that he'll need to find another guitar player if your album takes off? And
well, there's the other connection, is we have the same manager as Ian Tyson, so there's no danger of being double booked, you see.
I see. So you could be double booked at the same gig.
Yeah.
Oh, so I see. That's clever.
Oh, yeah. We're always thinking.
Oh, man. I love it. The next song that I want to play off of this album is called Magpie. I fell in love with this song. It was a charmer. It reminded me of the Siegel Schwal Band. I don't know if you remember them or not. Okay, maybe before your time. But what's the story behind Magpie?
Well, Magpie is a huge Ian Tyson concert favorite. Like most of the concerts we do, people are shouting out Magpie all through the concert, and he usually closes with it, and we actually, take it. We save our hottest licks for that song at the Ian Tyson show. So when the Gords did it, it was like, really? Do you want to do this? Should we? And we made a pretty different version of it, and I think the Ian Tyson fans are okay with it. When we actually played it for Ian, we made sure he was sitting down first, and at the end of it, he said, "Oh, yeah, I like it." So I guess it's good.
And so now that's probably a highlight of the concert for him. Okay.
It's so different. It's so different. I don't think he'd even want to do it our way.
Well, let's give it a listen. This is Magpie by the Gords. 88.5 FM KMUZ. That's the Gords with Magpie. The last song we're going to play here by the Gords is Take Your Time. Did you write this song?
I did. I wrote it about my daughter, and my buddy Gord Maxwell sings this song. He's a brilliant singer. He's the bass player in the Gords, and he sings backups on pretty much every record that comes out of Western Canada. He does that from his basement.
And before we leave here and play this song, I want to thank you so much for getting up this morning and coming over to the station, which is not in Turner, and being a part of our morning, Lee. And I'll continue to play your music here and continue to be one of your supporters. You're a very talented man. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, and check us out at www.thegords.com.
We'll do it. Here's the Gords with Take Your Time on KMUZ. 88.5 FM KMUZ Turner with the Gords and Take Your Time. And that was from our guest that was just in, Lee Worden. That's his group. And that album is coming out on the 17th, and we heard 4 cuts from that this morning. And I would hope that you go to CD Baby or Amazon and ask for the Gords album. It's called Pick. And I want to thank Lee so much for coming in and being my guest this morning. It is 8:40.